Creating a budget, let alone creating a budget that lasts all year, can be hard. Let's face it, things with budgeting just have changed over time. Luckily, you can create and plan your entire budget for the year. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that inside of the Quicken Simplifi budgeting app. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the Quicken YouTube channel. I'm your host, Justine. Here we are going to be talking about the annual budget. That's right. If you are set on creating a strong financial plan where you are crushing your financial goals, you're getting your spending under control, then you're probably curious about setting up a yearly or annual budget. Now, budgets shouldn't be restrictive. Budgets just simply tells your money where to go. It allows you to spend on the things that are fun, cut out the rest while hitting your financial goals. So let's create a budget that you feel really good about. And if you want to follow in real time and you don't yet have access to the Quicken Simplifi budgeting app, I will leave a link in the description box below for you to sign up, create your account so that you can follow along with me. Let's get started. The first thing that you'll want to do when you're creating your yearly budget is to start with what you know. Typically, this is going to be anything that you are paying every single month on a regular basis. Things like rent or a mortgage payment, utilities, your grocery spending, debt payments. This is what I like to call fixed expenses. We know we're going to be spending money in these particular categories every single month, so let's go ahead and include those now. Now, pro tip, and I'm going to be giving you a lot of pro tips inside of this video, is that if you don't know exactly how much you're spending in each of these different categories, you can actually use the average cost amount inside of the app to give you a baseline of what you should be setting aside each month. Let me show you how this is done inside of the app. All right, so brand new, just open this up. If we want to include a planned expense, what I like to do is hit monthly expense. So this is a recurring spending for me. So if I was to go to restaurants, it's gonna show me, all right, we're gonna suggest $106 for restaurants based on spending over the last 6 months. Now I know I'm probably gonna go overboard for this month, so I'm gonna set it for $300 and then create. Now it's going to create a planned spending tile or category for you to start tracking over time. Next, you'll want to add in the fun. Now, every good budget has room for fun money spending, right? You want to still live your life after paying the bills, yes? So this includes things like clothing, restaurants, shopping, entertainment, movies, bars, you name it. That should all be included inside of your planned spending. Now, pro tip for you, when we are under our spending plan while we're putting together our annual budget, you can toggle over here to other spending, and other spending is going to give you a good idea of what types of budget categories to include in your planned spending. And another pro tip is that you don't have to budget for everything that's under other spending. If there are irregular months where you're spending in a random category, like this one for education, you don't need to necessarily create a planned spending budget for it. It can simply live in other spending. Another pro tip I want to leave you with when we're talking about adding in the fun is actually you can toggle ahead when you're creating your annual budget to other future months. So let's say you know you have a spring break vacation coming up in March, you can simply add a one-time expense. We can label it, I think it's under travel, yes. Travel, we could call it vacation. We could get real specific and call this our Disney vacation, and then add in a custom amount for this. Let's say we want to spend $1,000 on our Disney vacation here for the month of March, and now we've included it inside of that particular month's budget. Next, you'll want to make room for savings. Perhaps you have different savings financial goals that you want to contribute to in the year. So some examples for you could include things like an emergency fund, a down payment, a new baby, vacations, a new car, maybe outside investing. Outside investing that doesn't include contributions to a 401k or 403b, since those are deducted from your paycheck before you actually receive it. Now, you can easily set up savings goals inside of the Simplify app, and let me show you how to do that. So inside of the web version of the app, you're just gonna toggle over to the left-hand menu. You're going to click Savings Goals, and then you can see I've already started a couple of these, but if you wanted to create a new goal, and let's say you wanna do a custom one, and there's a new baby on the way. Congrats. How much money does a new baby cost? Who knows? Let's start with a reasonable amount where we want to cover things like a crib, a stroller, maybe a car seat, some of the big things, a baby monitor, and let's set a goal for $1,500. And we haven't saved any money for this goal yet, but we want to set a target date for next year. It's automatically going to calculate what that monthly contribution amount might be. Alternatively, if you want to bump up this date and say, okay, I really want to make this target goal date $1,500 by July of 2025, then I need to change my monthly contribution amount to $187.50. I'll click Change. We'll start it this month. Click Continue, and we can actually include it as a planned contribution inside of our spending plan. Create the goal, and now the goal has been created and tracked. Pro tip, this is huge news. You can actually do account-to-account transfers inside of the app. So you don't have to open up a separate window for your checking account and another window for your savings account banks and make the banks talk to each other and do the transfer that way. You can actually do it inside of Simplify, which I think is a huge time saver, making you more efficient and making your goals more accurate. You can more accurately track those inside of Simplify. When you're thinking about your annual budget, you'll also want to prioritize your financial goals. And if you're like, I have so many goals and I want to do all of these things, I want you to try to narrow down that list. First, you can do a brain dump of all of the things you want to accomplish in the year, right? Okay, we have 12 months to do this in the year. And then pick your top 3 financial goals. Perhaps it's starting to build up an emergency fund for the first time. Maybe it's paying off one whole credit card this year. Or maybe it's simply not overspending or overdrafting from your monthly budget. Whatever the case may be, and if you're a little confused on which goal to select, ask yourself, what is the one thing in my finances that if I accomplished it, it would make everything else easier for me? If you can think of that one thing, like, yes, I would feel like things would be so much easier if I had that emergency fund built up, or if I didn't have that 28.99% credit card interest breathing down my back and ballooning my debt balance. That would just make me feel so happy, so good. That is your area of focus, and I highly encourage you to focus on these financial goals kind of one thing at a time. Then you'll want to make sure that your annual budget is reflective of your financial goals. If you have a goal to build up that emergency fund, then add it as a savings goal inside of the budgeting app. And here's my pro tip for you for prioritizing your financial goals. Know that life happens, okay? Things like the unexpected are gonna pop up, or whether that's good or bad. You're thinking, hey, my bestie just asked me to go on this really great trip to Maine for the fall. You're like, yes, I want to go and do that. You just know that you can pivot financially anytime that you want to, and then asking yourself, what can shift, even if temporarily, where I'm still balancing the enjoyment of living my life and hitting my financial goals. Okay, so to recap how you set up your annual budget using Simplify is you can toggle forward to the months ahead, especially to months where you know things are gonna be a little bit different, such as a vacation or you're moving, anything like that where you might have irregular expenses. You can toggle all the way into the future and make those changes. Also, you're going to want to make sure that your planned spending for the things you know you're going to be spending on every single month is included. You don't necessarily have to move things from other spending. Here's something interesting too, is projected other spending for future months. You can actually project that out and see how much you're going to be spending in other spending. So I had that random online education expense, I don't need to include that as part of the plan. It can just live in other spending. Also, you'll want to make note of any savings goals that you might have for the year and add that under the savings goal section to make sure that you are on top of that for your annual budget. Plus, you can also make note of any irregular subscriptions that you might have or premiums that are due, such as my car insurance premium is billed every 6 months instead of every month. So I can actually plan ahead and say, all right, $350 is going to come out in March for my car insurance premium. These are ways that you can adjust your annual budget to account for any irregularities. If you want to create a realistic annual budget that feels fun and not controlling, give Simplifi a try. I will leave a link in the description box below for you to check out. And if you want to take advantage of Simplifi's latest features and really get a big understanding of how this app works, then you'll definitely want to hit up this video next.